Hey everybody, welcome back to the Movie Reviewers 100. I have tricked my comrades into thinking that I wouldn't post a video today, but in fact I am. This is rom-com week, and I have to admit that romantic comedies are probably my least favorite of all film genres. And there are two reasons for that. Number one, the ending is a foregone conclusion 99% of the time. There's just a couple of romantic comedies in which the two leads don't end up together, and one of them is My Best Friend's Wedding. It's just a matter of time until the leads get together in the end. And the other problem is that, like James Bond movies, which also have foregone conclusion ending type deals, where you know James Bond is going to triumph and kill the bad guy and stop the world from being destroyed. In a romantic comedy, there just isn't as much at stake. It's just about, whether or not two people are going to get together or not, and after a while you just kind of have to throw up your hands and say, who cares? Enough with these silly misunderstandings and the people running to meet other people at the airport, and stupid little devices to make things more interesting, such as wishing powder or magical fortune cookies and stuff like that. It's just nuts. Actually, that's the Freaky Friday. That's with the fortune cookies there. But anyway, you get what I mean. There are a few exceptions, and there was this article in Entertainment Weekly last week about romantic comedies and how there's so few good ones. And the reason why they wrote this is because Crazy Stupid Love came out here in the States last week. And I just saw it, and I thought it was very good, although it doesn't avoid all the usual traps of romantic comedies in a way that's sort of like impossible, apparently, to avoid. It's still more character-based and less like a weird scenario-based comedy. For example, Matthew McConaughey doesn't want to move out of his parents' house, or someone has a memory problem or whatever. But this was a decent movie, and it was one of those deals where the actors really sort of make it. It's a fairly well-written movie, but the acting is what really puts it over the top. Now, a romantic comedy that I want to talk about is not this one, because like I said, I just saw this one, and although I liked it, it's a little difficult to analyze this early on. So instead I wanted to talk about a movie, ironically enough, that does rely on a very sort of bizarre hook, and has some rather broad and over-the-top performances, as usual for Adam Sandler movies. But 50 First Dates has been a favorite comedy of mine ever since I first saw it. And the reason for this is because most comedies, I feel, don't work for me because they're just too happy. Everything is just too upbeat at the end. Everything works out just great, and that doesn't always make for a very memorable viewing experience for me. Now, 50 First Dates, on the other hand, does end sort of happily, but it's a bittersweet happiness. Something is, not really the best situation that it could be, and will always remain that way. For those of you familiar with the story, the main character's played by Adam Sandler. It's one of his own productions, of course, as he usually does every year, with his buddies, and takes place in Hawaii, like many Adam Sandler movies, because it's nice there. And he's sort of a womanizer type. He works for like SeaWorld or something like that, and he makes with the lovely ladies who come to visit the islands for their little getaways. And then he comes across Drew Barrymore, and of course he likes her a lot because they had good chemistry in The Wedding Singer. But seriously, how can you not like Drew Barrymore? She's incredibly sweet and fun. So what happens is when he introduces himself to her and they hit it off, the next day she doesn't remember who he is. And after a while, people who know her and know what her situation is explain to Henry that she had a car accident about a year ago, and that she damaged her brain, and that she has a short-term memory problem. Now, unlike Guy Pearce in Memento, her memory problem is extremely specific. She can remember everything that's happened during the course of a day. But when she goes to sleep that night and wakes up the next morning, she doesn't remember any from that previous day or any other day that occurred since her accident. In other words, time has just sort of stopped for her. Every single morning when she wakes up, she thinks it's the day that she's supposed to meet her dad for his birthday and take a drive, at which point they when it happened a year ago, they got in a car accident. She ended up spending a bunch of time in the hospital. But her brain is never really going to recover. And one thing that I like about this movie more than anything is the fact that Drew Barrymore does not get hit in the head in the end and suddenly her memory is fine again, or they find some incredible new surgery or some procedure that fixes everything and she's fine ever after that. Right up until the end of the movie and beyond, she will always have this problem where she can't remember things when she wakes up in the morning, and so that's what makes it bittersweet. But there still is a lot of good stuff. Adam Sandler basically has to try and figure out a way to win her over every single day, because every day she doesn't know who he is, because she didn't meet him before her accident. So he comes up with a lot of creative ways, and he kind of varies it a lot, because you think if he tried the same thing over and over again that worked, he would get bored. So eventually Drew Barrymore's father and brother sort of come around, and they don't like him at first, but eventually they sort of side with him and help him out with what he wants to do, which is to create a video which she can watch the very first thing that she does when she wakes up in the morning, that explains her situation so she can get used to the whole thing right away. Originally they were trying to cover the fact that she had a memory problem by pretending it was the same day over and over again, but that didn't, of course, work out long term. So Adam Sandler, of course, he has to try and figure out how he's supposed to have a relationship with a person who doesn't remember him every single day. And, Drew Barrymore, obviously, she has to, figure out a way to feel something for him, even though she's only known him for a day, from her perspective. Now, the last scene in the movie just killed me, because the last scene in the movie takes place several years after most of the rest of the movie. So at that point, we are in the same situation as Drew Barrymore, more or less, where she wakes up in the morning, she doesn't know where she is. She's not in her bedroom, she's somewhere else. What is this place? What's going on? And we're in the same situation. And when she puts in that tape and learns what's happened in the intervening time, so do we as well. And when she finds out what's going on, it's sad. It's sad, but it's also good, because things are going well for her. But in a much different way than she expected and anticipated. And the thing that I like about this movie is that it's sentimental and it's heartfelt, but it also has that kind of usual raunchy humor that Adam Sandler has. You've got a couple of characters that are just sort of caricatures. Rob Schneider's in this movie, and he's sort of a buffoon, and you've got a couple of the characters that are just sort of cartoonish. But the balance between the juvenile humor and the sort of tenderness it works very, very well. The music's all really good in this movie as well, and I really like it because it has that balance, and it has that mixture that normally you don't get. Either a movie is like really kind of sappy, or just really goofy and stupid, and this is sort of like equal balance. And I also like the fact that they don't magically solve Drew Barrymore's memory problem at the end, that she will always have this memory problem, and that makes it, like I said, a bittersweet happy ending. So 50 First Dates is definitely one that I would recommend. And I have seen some of the other movies that the guys have recommended this week. Definitely Maybe is a decent movie. I like that one pretty well. I have not seen Zookeeper. There was one other one that was recommended, and I don't remember what it was off the top of my head, but it was one that I liked. Oh, Amelie, right, Amelie, yes. That's a good movie as well. I haven't seen it in many years, not since it was in the theater, but definitely worth checking out because of Jean-Pierre Jeunet. So those two, I would definitely say, yeah, those are worth taking a look at. And I think there might be one more that I'm forgetting, and I apologize for that. Anyway, surprise, guys, I'm here anyway, although I'm posting this video kind of late. Thanks very much for watching, and be sure to tune in to more movie reviews on this channel. In the weeks coming, we'll have more themes coming up. Hope you've enjoyed it so far, and thanks again for watching. Bye.